are going from deliverance into inheritance. Now, we're not just talking about a situation for you. We're not just talking about you experiencing facets of your life where you're coming out of deliverance into inheritance. Rather, we're talking about a dispensational change, where we're talking about this is something that the body is about to move into as a dispensation, that we are about to become generation inheritance. That the believer, those of us that represent him, must now begin to move into inheritance. Much like the children of Israel, we didn't come out of Egypt just to come out of Egypt. They came out of Egypt because God had an inheritance for them. And we didn't come out of sin just to come out of sin. We came out of sin because God has an inheritance for us. And if you're going to come out, you might as well go in, because the same power that brought you out is the same power that brought you in. Clap your hands and thank God for it. Now, here's what you have to understand. When he talked about a dispensational shift, I understood what he was talking about. The church is not in deliverance. We are in inheritance. We're not even in a dispensation of deliverance. You have been delivered. We are in a dispensation of inheritance, for we have obtained an inheritance, which the moment you got saved, he shifted you. And so you and I are not sinners saved by grace, hoping to get something from him. No, we were sinners, totally saved by grace, and now have been shifted into an inheritance dispensation. Which means the moment I get saved, it's all about now getting what I got saved for. And church, we have to understand this is the dimension he brought us into. And you say, yeah, but that sounds good, but I still got issues, and I still got the trouble, and I'm still dealing with devils, and I'm still fighting sin, and I'm still doing all that. Well, you have to understand spiritual dynamics. You have to get a revelation of the difference between your spirit, your soul, and your body. Because the moment you got born again and became the new creation in Christ Jesus, he totally shifted your spirit out of death, out of sin, out of the judgment of it, and made you a brand new creation in Christ Jesus, moved you from sin consciousness now to son consciousness, and now you have come out of sin into the Father's house as a son and daughter of the living God, sitting at the right hand of the Father, heir and joint heir with Jesus. That's where your spirit is right now. And your assignment now is to get your head where your spirit is. Yeah. Your assignment now is to get your soul, your emotions, your feelings, all the residue of the sin nature, to get your body to bring the physical things in alignment with where I am in the spirit. Woo! Touch yourself and say, I'm already there in the spirit. Yeah, oh my God. You gotta stop acting like every part of you is the part of you that's significant. There are times you feel like a nut and there are times you don't. That's why you can't pay attention to your feelings, because your feelings haven't shifted. But when your spirit shifted, now you gotta go back and tell your feelings, I don't care how you feel, you got to come on over here to where everybody say, pull them on over, pull them on over, pull them on over. That's why you have to understand what has happened to us. We have now been shifted out of deliverance. Woo! The blood did it once and for all. Oh, Church of Jesus Christ. The blood did it. He didn't have to do it but once. The blood has washed my spirit. And so when sin and struggles and issues try to overcome you, don't let the enemy come up with condemnation. Because see, the enemy will try to get you to think that you're not where you're at because of what you did. Oh, when the church gets this, we'll be done with preaching to saints like they're sinners. I didn't come to preach to you like you're a sinner. I came to preach to you like you're a son. Which means I don't want to talk about what you did. I want to talk about who you are. Because if you ever stand in who you are, you'll quit doing whatever you did as you learn to pull your body into the dimension that your spirit is. Right now, jump up on your feet and just start praising God. Wait a minute. Why did I tell you to do that? Because when I told you to do that, you didn't ask your mind, you didn't ask your body, you just responded. And that's the way you have to make your mind do. That's the way you have to make your body do. I'm not asking you if you want to do it. If I feel it in my spirit, you gonna do it whether you want to do it or not. Boy, y'all made me come preach up in here. I thought I was going to teach this, but tell somebody I'm pulling everything up with me. My mind's coming up. My emotions are coming up. My body's coming up. Okay, be seated, please. So we have obtained an inheritance. You are in inheritance. Which means you already got it. You didn't get saved and not get it. You already got inheritance. That's the dimension he shifted you into. And I thank God for the honor that my apostle actually did the foreword of a new book I have coming out called The Ascension Dimension. And it'll be out, I think, in January in 25. And I was so honored to have him do the foreword. I actually wanted him to do the foreword on all my books because he's responsible for them. And in that book, I argue how the church is not in death, burial, or resurrection. You went through that, but that's not where you're at. You're in ascension and seating, which means the finished work of Jesus didn't end at the cross. It ended at the right hand of the Father when he sat down far above principality and power, and then he raised you up together and sat you there. which means thank God for the blood. Thank God for the cross. Living, he loved me, and dying, he saved me, and buried, he carried my sins far away. Thank God for the blood. But he saved me so he could seat me. And some of you seem to be satisfied to be saved without being seated. And it is this dimension of the finished work, these things that we have inherited and received, that's where we're at right now. We are in inheritance. And here's the thing about an inheritance. If he's already given it to you, you can't make him give it to you. He's already given it to you. Then the only thing you can do is either claim it or waste it. Yeah. You can either claim it or waste it. Ask your neighbor, say, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You already got it. That's what Paul just said. We've obtained it. We already got it. You already in ascension. Are you gonna be seated or not? Because you're already there. So what I'm explaining to you is not things that are going to happen. They're things that have already happened that we have now got to move into. Yeah, say I'm moving in. I'm moving in. I'm moving in. So you can no longer after this day think in terms of deliverance. You have to think in terms of inheritance. Deliverance means I need him to save me from it. Inheritance means I'm not saved from it. He has saved me or shifted me into it. This is why all of his promises are past tense, in the tense of the new covenant. He told me to say it again. That's why all of his promises are past tense in the tense of the Gospels, which means I'm not over here saying, Lord, would you heal me? That's deliverance. Inheritance is over here saying, with his stripes, I am healed. You understand the difference. One of them is asking God to deliver you out of something. The other one is saying he already has and I'm going to claim it. Which means there's now nothing you will ever need that he has not already provided. And now you gotta act like a snotty-nosed brat when it comes to God. Then I'm not begging for nothing. I'm gonna take what's. Oh, somebody shout, I'm gonna take it. I got a right to it. I got a right to have it. I got a right to claim it. I got a right to be healed. I got a right to be blessed. I got a right to be anointed. I got a right to have authority. I got a right to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. I got a right to sit at the right hand of the Father. Shout like you go act like a snotty-nosed brat and get everything.